Hey, I'm Jay,
I'm Christy.
and this is episode 5 of the Train
Mm.
4 podcast. And
It,
whoa,
it
same day,
is.
same
Same day.
shirts, same day. I mean, hey,
Same
why
stuff.
not? Why not two mini series on the same day? I mean, all the stars aligned for me and Chris's
Why
schedules
not?
to happen.
Just
And like,
sit
hey,
here
we're
and
here, we
just
got some
BS all
free
day.
time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're here,
Um,
we're
yeah.
here.
It worked out really well for us because today had really heavy trading news, actually, which a lot of people won't know watching this, but it actually is Thursday. It's the 10th. Is it the 10th? I'm
It is
making
the
dates. It is the 10th.
13th.
13th. Oh man, I lost 3 days. Today's the 13th. It's
Yes.
we're gonna cut that. So today is actually Thursday the 13th, and there was actually super high news. So if you guys don't know, go check out the charts.
It went crazy.
But crazy news today. So Jay and I actually got pretty lucky in that we just weren't going to trade today anyway because we were so busy recording. But we're like, hey,
We
we're
just
not
knew.
trying to.
No, we
Yeah,
knew.
we're like not rushing back to those charts. So let's
Yeah,
just
I didn't want to tell
record
y'all right off the
another.
bat, but like we got insider info, so like sorry, not sorry, we're not giving it to y'all, but
Yeah.
we knew it was gonna be crazy. I
No.
obviously bought, like we knew it was gonna go up, and then I obviously sold right when it started going down. So I
I
mean,
mean, to be fair, I did hit a like hold that it was holding. So definitely a 4 hour level was hit on US 30. And that was supposed to be like next week, maybe. I was like, oh, this is a longer hold. This is definitely a swing trade. But I mean, it hit it. So that's pretty exciting. But
yeah,
beyond that, we weren't in the charts
where
today.
where are
So
we getting into, Chris?
we're
This is
going to be
another
talking.
mini series.
Yeah, we're going to be talking again about the prop firm. So we talked to you guys a little bit. You guys already got introduced to this. If you watch the smart money concept one that we dropped for you guys, we did do a like reaction style video. So we're going to be doing a couple of these, like I've already said in that video, a few times throughout the month for
Yeah,
topics that we find we just get a lot of questions on. And we want to make sure that you guys are all getting your questions answered and getting your like version of what you wanted to hear about that topic answered. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in this video or podcast, however you're listening, just kind of going over some of the frequently asked questions that we had in reactions kind of to the prop firm that we had. That episode I will post here in the upper right hand corner for those of you who are watching on YouTube. You can check that out. So I don't know where I am on the screen for you
yeah, it
guys.
flips. We realized
Somewhere.
we tried to point at each other one time, and it was literally opposite. So it's like it's a
Oh,
mess.
yeah. So
It is a
anyhow,
mess.
it will be linked up above in the right hand corner for you guys whenever you get up there. And so that, or you can also check out episode 3 on the podcast list. If you are listening on any of your favorite streaming sites, you can check out episode 3. And that is where we have Miss Navy who comes on. She is one of the members in our community and talks about her experience with prop firms. I myself am a prop firm trader. Jay has used them. We all kind of talk about our experience with them and our struggles, our likes, our dislikes, that kind of stuff. So if you guys are interested in learning more about that, check out that episode. This episode will be a little bit shorter and we'll just kind of talk about some of the stuff that I got asked a lot of and what I found a bunch of people reacted
It's
to.
pretty funny too.
The thing that most people reacted to I thought was really funny was when I talk about losing accounts. I really have like way more messages about this. So many people were appalled that I was so calm and casual, like, oh yeah, they just like took my other accounts. So I know I talk about it very calm and casually, and I wanted to kind of touch on this because I feel like this is a common issue that we do see in trading with the prop firm tradings where people put a lot of pressure on the accounts, put a lot of pressure on themselves, put a lot of pressure on passing it and all this stuff. And we actually just celebrated Global Mental Health Awareness Day this week. And I was really trying to like record this to get it out to you guys on that day
Yeah.
because there is a component of mental health and having like a good mindset when it comes to trading. And if you are in any way at all set off or in a bad place mentally, you really shouldn't be trading. And something like a prop firm challenge, when you're, failing them, you're in drawdown, you're struggling to pass them by the deadlines, it can really, really set you off and just kind
Yeah.
of sets you in this terrible downward spiral of just like revenge trading, trading outside of your strategy, trading outside your plan, over trading. And over risking. And there's so many things that can happen. And we wanted to kind of delve into this a little bit more because that was a lot of the messages I was getting is like, how do you deal with those type of things? So,
Just nerves of
um,
steel. That's all you gotta have. Like, why not? No, but
It is
I do have a
not
funny
that easy,
story.
Jay.
No. I do have a funny story though. Like it's funny how Chris is coming off like this, but it's the simple fact that while she is getting a lot of messages, like how can you deal with this? It's funny being on the opposite side of things whenever I'm talking to her a lot, almost. I mean, I feel like every day at this point because we've been
We
working
talk
really
about
hard. Yeah, we've been working really hard with TTF, but it's just funny how everybody's like, God, I wish I had like Christy's nerves, but then like
it.
I'm on a call with Christy during like strategy wars, and like I'm trying to work with her, and then she just starts cursing out of nowhere. I brought this. I'll bring this up. This is actually coming out before we do.
Lies,
This is
lies,
this
Jay.
is before this is before we bring out episode 6, which is the strategy war season 2 strategy war reveal, which is coming out next Monday. But
Exciting. You
um,
guys should
I, I
definitely
do
check that out on Monday.
I
Make
do
sure
kind
you
of
come check.
sprinkle, yeah, check it out. But I do kind of sprinkle in that little nugget there. I'm like, Chris, she's not. I mean, her nerves are still there. Like the nerves never go away. It's just you almost embrace it and get used to it, and the fact
Mhm.
that it's like there will always be some sort of fear of losing your account or um just like losing too many trades in a row, not trusting your system. But it's the fact that you have to take a step back and realize what are you actually risking in order to like get to that point. And it's the
Yeah.
fact that the just the potential of being able to like throw $100 into a challenge and potentially like trade 50K, like all you're
Mhm.
losing is $100. Like in the grand scheme of things, like you are
Yeah.
only losing $100 in order to potentially get 5-figure account. If that is still scary for you and $100 means a lot to you, then you shouldn't be entering in unless you're fully confident that you can pass. Everybody just like we're actually gonna have a topic on this coming soon.
Mm.
How trading is more of a marathon, not a sprint. But it's just the fact that I won't go into huge details about it there. But people are just so focused on rushing profitability and rushing the profit earns. And it's like, oh, why? Like
Yeah, you can't rush it. Like Jay's saying, like you can't. Like I know we know why, Jay. Everybody wants to make that
everybody,
money. Everybody wants
yes,
their Lambo. Come on. No, but no, for real, you don't want to rush it. This is a skill, and you'll hear us say this over and over again. Like you can't become profitable super fast. Like you're just not going to do it. And if you do, I mean, I just don't think it's sustainable. And I mean, I'm sure there's one person out there in the world who's like, I was profitable from day one, and I'm still doing it 10 years later, but the majority of people will not do that. And
and that person, I will
it's
like argue that that person probably put in a shit ton of time
you
before
have
they
some
even entered.
you're not a natural. You're not born naturally just good at trading. You
I
didn't
was
wake
born
up.
this way. I
Yeah, no, you did not. You did not come out as a
was born
baby
this
and
way.
you're like, yo, that's a
Yo,
divergent.
we should buy.
Like,
No, we should definitely be buying at this point in time. No.
yeah, I mean, like nobody's natural. It is a skill you have to develop like anything else. And I mean, do I think some people are better at the overall of it? Yeah, I do think there are some people who are more engineered in a certain way, or maybe they can see things a little bit different. Maybe they have better control over their emotions. Like there's so many different things and dynamics that go into trading, and people might be better at it in a natural way in that sense. But as far as like naturally just being good at trading, nobody's good at it. Naturally just born good at it. You have to develop it.
Kind
So
of
rushing the profitability is trying to push these accounts. Sorry, Jay. Trying to push these
used to
accounts,
it.
trying to like push profitability. It's just not smart. You're just going to get frustrated and you're going to mess up like mentally. Like you're going to be like, man, this is frustrating because like I could have, should have, would have, or you're not ready yet. And it just puts that like negativity in your head. And that can be hard to fix, So, or creating really bad habits, which could
Yeah.
be really hard to break. So, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with Jade. Like, you have to be willing to put the time in. We can talk a little bit more about it because I don't want to
No, but
go
let's
too
get
far off
back.
topic.
Let's get back on topic. So
Yeah, I
like
was just gonna
so
say I don't want to go
Chris.
too far off topic,
So
but
Chris, like what just to kind of make me the interviewer and you the interviewee, what do you think
scary.
you better be?
uh,
But what do you think? Because it could be subconscious. It could be subconscious things, but like what do you think you're able to do to be able to be like, I lost an account, whatever. Like life
So
moves on.
that's what I wanted to kind of talk to. So people kind of were like, "Oh, you're so casual about it." I mean, some people were very sweet about it. We're like, "How do I do that?" Other people were like, "This is serious. You should take it more serious." And I do. I mean, if you guys think I don't take it serious, like, I mean, you have no clue what my everyday life looks like. I take all of my things that I do serious. But as you guys have heard us talk about in episode 1, if you guys watched that, if you didn't, you can check it out. It's listed here. Go watch it. But when we're talking about our, the trading floor and developing it, we do have myself as well as Artie and Brutus on and Jay. And we all talk about our stories and how we got into trading and how we've developed ourselves over time. So a big reason as to why it doesn't bother me to lose an account is one, I have other streams of income, which it doesn't bother me as much to lose these accounts. And I also have my personal accounts, which I trade. So I have gotten to that level where I can trade personal accounts, I trade multiple funded accounts, I kind of keep capital everywhere. And that's my style of trading, and that's where I'm at this point. And I have developed the skill far enough at this point to be able to do that. But so it doesn't bother me quite as much, but I'm well aware of the impact and how it feels to lose an account. I mean, Jay has heard me lose an account. Like, he's been there where I'm like, I will censor it, but these blah blah blahs at this company, blah blah
You
blah.
should never
Anyway,
say that. Jesus, Chris, you took that way too far.
anyhow,
Take it back. Take it back.
Jay has heard the uncensored versions for sure, and I do have a bit of a sailor's mouth when I'm upset. So anyhow,
Typical
I
Jersey people,
yeah, I go pretty Jersey on it. So but yeah, I know how that feels, and it is frustrating because it's for me it's a time thing. But I know for a lot of you guys, you're like, this is your livelihood. This is you feel so invested. And as Jay said, one, if you don't financially have the money and that's your last $100, please don't sign up for an account yet. Unless you should be in a place where it's not going to hurt you to lose that sign up fee. And if it is hurting you to lose that sign up fee, you need to wait a little bit longer. Just be patient until you have the ability to sign up and not put all your hope into one account. If you're doing that, you are probably going to set yourself up to emotionally trade. And that is where you're going to make mistakes. Like, emotional traders do not trade well. You just don't trade well. And that's a fact. Like, anybody can argue differently. It's 100% a fact. You might get lucky here and there and get like a day where you make a ton, but overall, if you truly kept track of it and journal it, I promise you would not be profitable overall. So it's not worth it to be emotionally trading.
I tell people that
Another
all the
thing,
time too, is the fact that to help you, to help losses hurt less, don't celebrate your wins. It sounds very weird and very robotic, but the
yeah.
less you celebrate your wins, the less the losses will actually hurt you, which is kind of weird, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's, obviously I have income coming from other things. So it sucks. It's a loss of time for me, but, it's not a big deal. You sign up for another account. I've said it before. I trade with lots of different firms. I don't only stick to one because, some of these firms like to play games sometimes. That's okay. That's okay. And then I go back to them and you're fine.
We
And
make amends.
it's
Just
make
a
amends.
crazy.
And I kind of hop around in the way that some of them might make little rules that are a little iffy, and they might try and say, "Hey, you violated this so and so whatever rule," and you're like, "Did I?" Whatever their reasoning is.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, and you say, "Okay, that's fine. See you in 2 months." I'm gonna go here for a little bit, and then I go here, and I always am kind of using different firms to my advantage, and you take your payouts, and you just take your payouts for what they are. The firms are meant to be there as a stepping. Yeah, it's meant to be a stepping stool. And and meanwhile, I also have my regular accounts, which I trade just fine, and there's no rules like that, like that. There are some, some rules with your brokers, but not trading firm, prop firm rules. And then I also have other incomes, all the other things that I do outside of the trading world that I've used my investments to get into. So it doesn't really bother me as much. So that's why when you guys hear me say it, it's oh, whatever. The other biggest thing that I want to really, really kind of hone in on, the reason it doesn't bother me is because I know I have the skill to do it. at the end of the day, people put so much pressure on this one account, on this silly little
One, this
whatever
one
9-digit,
opportunity, this
10-digit
one
number that
time.
they assign you, and like it's like you act like this is the only time you'll ever be able to do it. And it's like if something goes wrong with it, you guys get so upset and you get in your heads and you're all like, oh my God, like I lost my account. What am I gonna
I've
do?
never
And
passed every prop firm that I've done. I've
no,
I've
yeah,
obviously I mean me and Christy
yeah,
have both have
yeah.
passed prop firms, but we
I've
don't
had to I've had one that I have to recently actually that I had
it's just
to redo again. I mean, I was in
it's just the
enough
fact
profit to get
that
the free
like
retry, but not didn't pass
think
in time.
of think of passing a prop firm as like your strategy. You don't win 100% of the time. I mean, if you do, then you're a billionaire. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. But it's just the fact that people just assume that all right, I'm this first one I'm one and done. I'm gonna enter it, I'm gonna pass it, and then we're good. Like you might not
Yeah,
pass the first time, you might not pass the second time, but it's important to go back and like look at what you made mistakes on because you in hindsight you might notice a lot of mistakes, but in the present like you're so heated after losing a couple,
yeah.
then you're like, you know what, RSI looks good here, I'm entering, and be like, that's not part of it. So now you just like cost yourself an extra percent that you didn't need to
Mhm.
take just because of that. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's important to it's
I
important.
feel
Hindsight's
like
important. That's
yeah,
all.
you'd be surprised, like Jay saying, when you go back after you've
It's like
had a little
why
bit
did I
more
not
time.
see this? Why did I
And
do
then
that?
yeah, and you're like, oh, I did revenge trade, or oh, I might have taken too many trades, or oh, I didn't stick to my plan where I was supposed to be done after two losses, and you start to realize like, oh, some of this is on me, you know. And that's okay. And like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me because I know I've developed this skill. So yeah, it sucked to lose three accounts because like losing three was like, whoa, you guys are a little out of hand for this, but to take them all the way. But I was like, whatever, no big deal. There's other prop firms and I know how to trade. So just go sign up for some other ones. Yeah, I know for the most people who are like struggling with capital, it's like, oh, it must be so easy for you to say like you have capital to do that or whatever.
It wasn't always
But
the case.
it wasn't always the case. And I have talked about this where like
Yeah, she's lost so much
I
money before.
so
What's a
much.
fee? I mean, what's a prop firm fee when you?
I mean, and the thing is like I've talked about this in the prop firm one where I feel like what people don't realize is like, yeah, I have the capital now to do it, but it took me that 2 years or so. I was explaining to you and Miss Navy, Jay, like I started with very small capital and had to slowly build, whereas you guys have had access right away to prop firms. So honestly, if I had started with just prop firms, I
Which
probably
is
would have
good,
just
and it's
been
also bad because it rushes you when you're not
it does. I
prepared.
probably would have blown a ton of accounts, is my point, and I would have done that. But I think a lot of people focus on this account and putting all their hopes in if I could just pass, or even if you do pass, when you do pass and you're funded, the idea of trying to figure out how to sustain it, the pressure of not being able to get the payout, or if you lose it, you guys get really down in the dumps about it. And just try not to do that is the best thing I can say. And I kind of wanted to tie that all into mental health, Global Mental Health Week, because I feel like a lot of it is mental health based. You know what I mean? It really comes down to like your mindset and keeping that strong mindset. Remember, you are the skill. Like you're the reason that you passed, or you're the reason like it's you at the end of the day. So if you're good enough to pass those prop firms, don't worry about it if you're losing an account. If you are good enough to pass three trials and then you went for it and like maybe the market just was bad for your strategy. Maybe you just had a shit month. Like it happens and you stuck to your plan when you went back and looked and you're like, I don't know what
Maybe
happened.
live freaked you out, but and then like you were able to bounce
Yeah.
back, but just that first week offset you from passing. You can still get your retry, like
Yeah.
get above 0% and be like kick the next funded account in the butt. Like
Yeah. You guys like have so many opportunities to do that. But like the thing I just hate seeing people get so in their heads about it. And that's a lot of the messages I was getting after that was like, if I could give advice to you guys, and my advice is just remember you're the skill. Like at the end of the day, it's you, it's not the account that matters. If the account doesn't work out, it's okay. How many demo accounts do you guys probably recreate and recreate and recreate and recreate? And at the end of the day, like you don't think twice about it. So like, why do you focus on this one prop firm number that they give you? Like, who cares about the account? It's you. Like if you learned a skill and you know how to do it and you've done it once and maybe you did blow the account, maybe you lost it, like that sucks. But we've all done it. Like we have all lost our accounts and like we're all still here, we're all still surviving, and we're all still profitable. Like you can't get down in the dumps over losing one account and just be like, I'm done, I'm never doing it again. You just get back at
You
it, you
gotta be
figure out what you did
prepared
wrong.
too.
Yeah,
I say
be
this all the
prepared,
time. You
100%
fail
be
to
prepared.
prepare and prepare to fail. Like
Yeah.
that's all it is at the end of the day. And like
And be honest with yourself. If you truly feel like you failed because you didn't have the skill, you didn't have the ability to pass it, you were doing something really wrong, or
yeah, then take a
maybe you
step
didn't know
back.
what you were doing, you were just kind of like hoping to pass. Like if that's,
You can't be mad. If you
yeah.
did not prepare to pass the prop firm and you're just like kind of subconsciously just fixated on the idea of like the YouTube guru be like, I can't wait. I need to make 5-6 figures a month now with this firm. I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
now and have no idea of a trading plan, like trading different times,
Yeah.
different pairs. Like if you didn't, you can't be mad that you failed.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't be mad at that. And if that's the case, then, obviously go back, look at what you're
Like taking
doing,
a
work on a
test.
strategy. Yeah.
If you never study for the test and you failed, like you're like, ah, oh, dude, that test was screwed up. That test was out to get me. It's like, did you don't know, you didn't know anything about it. You didn't know the
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like,
And they offer the free one. So we did talk about that too.
yeah,
You can always try it once you feel like you're ready or you thinking you're ready.
as many
And
times as you want to.
to get a feel for how it feels to trade with the little back end and the dashboard and like the rules, definitely try those trials. Like literally so good. Like they're the
Uh-huh.
best way to mimic mentally what it's going to feel like to get into it. And all I can tell you guys is when you go for the demo, if you're like the live demo or whatever, when you're ready to do the actual challenge, make sure that you're just not putting too much pressure on yourselves. Don't put so much hope into just this one thing. Just trade what you know, trade how your plan is, and just know like if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Like it's you at the end
You're
of the day.
gonna
You will
wake up
figure
the
it out.
next day. It's
You
okay.
everything
That
will be
trade will not kill
okay.
you.
Yes, it will
Unless
be
you're over
okay.
leveraging because for some reason, no, but no, we're not going.
No, no, you shouldn't over leverage. You shouldn't over risk. And you, at the end of the day, be accountable. Be willing to be accountable for what your own mistakes are. When you
Tell
get through,
yourself whenever you're thinking about like if you think you have like what it takes, like make sure you actually prepare for this because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Um,
A question that people sent me to was, have I struggled mentally? I'm reading right here. So it's like, have I struggled mentally when I lose accounts? Like what, like what I had said happened to me. And it said losing 3 accounts must really suck balls. This is me reading the
quote unquote suck
actual.
balls.
Thank you for that message. So,
Christy, did it quote unquote suck balls?
I mean, yes. So I mean, they said it
You
must
heard it
suck
first.
balls. It does suck balls when you lose them. And do I do anything? Do I struggle mentally? Do I do anything different when I lose accounts? No.
I
I
sue
complain
them.
a little bit.
I just sue them. Like
No, I do not sue them.
call your
No.
lawyer and sue them.
I did not do that. I do write some strongly worded messages sometimes if
Oh
I
wow.
disagree with the vague wording as to why. And, that's a whole nother podcast where I feel like sometimes if
Yeah.
you're a little too profitable or you've been profitable for too long and they're not copying you, sometimes I feel like there's a bit of
They're out to get
a
you.
purge that sometimes happens. But like, they don't ban you, you just go back to another month. And if you're actually profitable, you'll be fine. You'll get your money eventually. So anyhow, do I struggle mentally though in general when I start seeing like drawdown was another thing people were talking about and asking. And I don't,
You
I
have to
feel like,
identify that for yourself. I feel like when you're a newer trader, you're very excited to watch your charts. You're very excited to enter trades. You're very excited to watch the trades that you've entered. And you almost want to add in like in trade analysis, which is like probably one of the worst things that you could do. Because if you tested it before, you never tested of watching the trade like play out as like in real time. So I think what helps like you will have mental struggles as a newer trader. That's just it is what it is at the end of the day. And unless you have nerves of steel, like Christie's twin, like she clearly doesn't have that. But
me, I don't have nerves of steel.
your twin. No, your twin has that skill. You just didn't get that. Sorry. Genetics
I don't
suck.
have a twin.
You don't know that in this world.
Wait.
Anywho,
Oh, I have no clue where Jay's going with this. Jay
any
is off on these things. I do not
anyway,
have a twin. Do I?
you're overreacting. But anyway,
What?
what I'm trying to get at is that it's important to identify, okay, like I struggle watching my trades, I affect them, I don't let them play out, then go back to the drawing board, try and make something that's more like set and forget is what people call it, to where certain things are met. You can do price action indicators, candlestick, diverges, who cares? But make sure it's like set in stone, everything lines up, bam, bam, bam. You enter, you put your stop loss, you put your take profit, close it out. Let it do its thing that you've tested before and let it run its course. And once you get more experience, then you can kind of like, okay, I'll start watching my trades more. I could see when certain things happen, and then you're good to go. I feel like that's kind of a pretty good answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like me personally, like if my accounts like go in drawdown, I want to say that, I mean, it's hard because I have been doing this for so long. I do to a point get frustrated, but I don't really ever worry that much. What I do find I do, which I will do, is that I will tend to take smaller rewards sometimes. And this is me just being what I would say that I'm more of a defensive trader. Like when it
Defense
comes to
wins
my trade,
championships.
I knew Jay was going to say that.
Yes.
And in general, I am definitely more of a defensive trader in that I'm very quick. I'm not overly quick, but I'm very quick to secure profits. And I think that that is actually a big part of why I do as well as I do. I don't have sniper entries. I'm well aware. I have decent entries. I'm okay with it. I don't have mini little stop losses that are like micro stop losses. I keep normal size stop losses according to what I want, to trade. I don't I'm not like I guess in that way I'm not like an offensive trader. I'm not like that
Oh,
super
you're not
flashy
aggressive.
trader. I don't know. I'm not. And I'm not a risky trader. And I'm not over risky trader. And I'm not I don't think I'm like the flashiest of traders to watch trade. I mean, you guys have seen my lives. If you have, they're pretty slow and boring and long. And I'm not like the fun YouTube flashy trader to watch. But what I am is pretty good at trailing or securing profit. I do stacking. You guys have seen that if you have seen it. But that's my version of kind of like a lot of times what I will do is I'll secure profits pretty quickly. And I find that when I'm in drawdown, I might tend to be a little bit more inclined to take my profits because I want to get back to my break even. And that is it's a gripe of mine. It's a problem of mine I struggle with. It's because instead of holding for my
Yeah.
trade, and of course, inevitably it always goes like to like a 10 reward and
I will
always.
say that's
And I'm
kind of
like,
something interesting to think about because Christy's kind of more old school in that stacking mentality. And what she does is if you if you're like, okay, I struggle with watching trades and set and forget, like I would like that, but like I don't want just one take profit. What you could do is something kind of on the lines of Christy in the fact that let's say whatever trade you take, I don't really care like how big the stop loss is, whatever it is, you have a one lot size on whatever you're trading. So what you could think about doing is that in order you can somewhat quote unquote trail but set and forget is the fact that instead of placing one trade with one lot, you could place two trades with 0.5 lots and then have one take profit at 1.5 and have one take profit at 3. That way you have multiple levels where you could target and you could secure things along the way without ever actually having to watch the trades on the chart. So that's kind of an interesting way to go
yeah.
about things.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know a ton of other people who stack like I do. I'm
It's
trying to think if I can
basically
think of
it's
anybody.
basically the
Um,
manual way of trailing your
it is.
stop loss, I feel
So
like.
if you can take partials, you could do whatever your style is that makes sense to you. I don't know. I just I think because like when I started trading, partials just seemed like a lot of math and like, math's hard. So I was like, who wants to do all that math? Also at the
What's nice
time.
doing everything at the beginning too, that you don't have to go in and accidentally take out too much of the partials and stuff like that. So
And
you get everything done with at the beginning and you're just
yeah, it just
waiting
kind of
for it.
came about as like how I did it. And then I also used to manage a lot of my trades on my phone, which is still kind of a bad habit of mine. and I have bad habits too. And now you guys, I think new people can't even download MT4. So sorry guys, but I still have it, and I will
Crazy
never get
stuff.
rid of
Yeah.
it. I will never get rid of this stuff.
Never going anywhere, dude. It's gonna be like Flappy
But
Bird phones, but with MP4.
yeah, people are gonna be like, "You still got that 7, huh?" Like, yep, I got the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7. I'm gonna be like Artie. Artie showed a video where he's like talking about them all, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep all of them because they all have MT4 on them." But it's not the best way to trade. You shouldn't learn to trade on your phone. But I had been trading, like managing my trades on my phone, and for me, instead of having to sit there and do a partial and go in and figure it all out on a phone, like on a screen on the phone, it was just easier to have 2 trades and just have
Yeah.
you're to just put my stop loss and take profits at 2 different areas for 2 different trades. And that was just like a habit that's formed over time. But you guys definitely can do the same idea with trailing your trades or taking partials at certain key areas and stuff like that. But that was my struggle. So yeah, I know people wanted to know, and I don't like to always act like, oh, I don't have any struggles, like, because I'm human. I
Everybody
have
struggles.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have struggles. So for me mentally, when I'm in drawdown, I tend to find a bad habit of mine is that I don't want to say I don't hold the trade. I still hold for a good risk to reward, but I do tend to like to get myself back to, like, say I took a 100K account. I like to get back to 100K. Like, I don't know why, it's like my safety net, because I know if all I need is like to be like 100K in like $1 and I can get the free retry. To me, it's all about just making sure like I get that free retry, because like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money all the time either.
I've actually been there before on like a 200K account where I was like $5 in profit. I'm like, yes.
Yes, you're like, yes, that's all I need for the retry.
It's so funny how it's like 200K account, like $5. Oh, I mean, you're profitable. Good job.
Yeah, and you have like no shame in messaging them, like, dear profit.
Yeah,
you're like, I finished in profit.
Yep. $5, by the way.
You're like, so free retry, and they're like, ooh, good luck, buddy.
Like, why do we have to give you this?
But yeah, like, we're joking about it, and we do laugh about it. And I know some of you are like, you guys are so casual, and you just laugh. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Dwell on it? Like, you can't be upset about it. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, like,
you can't be mad if you didn't put in the work. Oh, this is just bottom line.
Even if you did. I don't want to, some people do really put in the work. And if that's the case, don't be mad about it. Just try again next month. If you really truly believe you stuck to your plan, you've done the work, you've tested it. Sometimes you just have a bad month. Go back,
make sure you log everything, because you'll go back and you could notice that like you lost 2 trades. You should be stopping there, but it's like, you know what, like, price is looking really good right now. I'm gonna enter in there, and then that is your deciding factor on you maybe not passing or not. And then you go back to like, the strategy sucks, and be like, look back at everything. Did the
strategy suck, or did you?
Does the strategy suck?
But not that you sucked, it's because you break your rules, you went off your plan or whatever. So, take accountability is all I could tell you. And just remember, at the end of the day, the account isn't the important thing. You are.
It'll be okay. And if you are, if that $100, I won't say is life or death, but if that $100 matters to you,
you shouldn't use it.
Then just wait. Or like, get to the point where like you have passed like 3-4 free trials, and you are fully confident that like, okay, while this $100 might mean a lot to me, I know for a fact that I have a really good chance of passing this firm. But like, don't just throw away.
Don't rush the process.
Don't donate to their charity. Like, that's how they profit. They profit from people that fail. Like, that's bottom line. They've showed it before.
They count on that. And at the end of the day, like I said, just don't rush the process. Be willing to take the time and do it right. And then you're setting yourself up to not be in a place where you're disappointed, when it does happen. And even if you are disappointed, maybe that month, like maybe you get the free retry or something like that. But just remember, like, if you can pass it once, you can do it again. Like, that's like, and so many of you are like, oh, I passed it one time, but I haven't been able to sustain it, or this or that. And it's like, just try to separate yourself from the challenge.
Because there are people like that. If you pass the first time, don't think you're the shit. Because like, that's whenever you start doing that, that's whenever things
just don't get greedy with it. So many people start doing it. A lot of times I see people like love to run numbers, and of course we love to play the what if, like, what if I made 5%, blah 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 blah, 10%, and like you're like, oh wow, this one month I made 15%. And like, then you put these numbers and the expectations in your head, and I think when you put an expectation on it, that's where you kind of get yourselves in trouble. Sometimes you set yourself up for disappointment. I never put an expectation on my funded accounts. Every single one of them is extra income for me.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Reliable income.
There's so many times where, and this It works for some people, don't get me wrong, but I can't stand when people are like, okay, at this time I'm buying this account, I'll make this much money in this month, and then I'm gonna use that money, and then 3 months from now I'm gonna buy this account, and then I'm gonna use that money, and then
It's
3 months
nice to
from
have a
then.
plan.
It's good to have a plan, but don't put time limits
But
on yourself.
I wouldn't put the time limit, and I wouldn't put it so in stone that when it doesn't happen, it's like you fall apart. You know what I mean? You can't
It's
fall
gonna be
apart of it.
okay.
It's nice to have an idea of like, oh yeah, and we say it all the time actually. If you I would say always start smaller with a prop firm. I say start with the smallest account possible personally, because if you can do it, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you can do it
If you
on
drill it,
yeah,
consistency,
if you do
execute
it
your
on
plan.
the smallest account, you can do it on the biggest account. The drawdown is the same no matter what. Like it doesn't matter. The percentage is the same. Like all that stuff is the same. The capital is not the important part at all. And it's the skill, it's the consistency, it's the strategy you're using or whatever. And then it comes down to like the actual risking and managing of your account. And all of that is important. The amount you have makes no difference. I see people do that a lot too. People will be
Amen,
like,
sister.
I'm gonna get $1 million account because then I get all this drawdown. And I was like, it's the same drawdown as if you had a 25K account, like $1 million account, 25K
Yeah,
account.
it's just
And
different ratioed out.
I would start smaller. My advice is start smaller, get your feet wet, don't waste too much money in case you lose, in case you don't lose the account. And then if you do well and you learn how to do it, then you can start scaling yourself up. Use those profits to then invest into a higher account, so you're never coming out of pocket anymore. You're recycling your profits. You're reinvesting them into something else, and keep growing your capital. And that's how I would suggest to do that. I wouldn't suggest going for the biggest account on your first try, because in your head you're like, oh, well, if I just made 1% on $1 million account, like I'd be set.
It's
You're
gonna take
thinking
a little
about
while to
money.
get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you start thinking about the money you could make instead of just thinking about this as the actual job of trading and the skill that you need to have it, that's where you're going to mess yourselves up. I don't ever look at it like, oh, I have to make this amount of money. And I have been guilty of doing that in the past. And whenever I had done that, every time I set myself up for failure. And it's like, man,
Same.
yeah. So, because we're all innately greedy.
I don't
Because
know
you will
what.
reach your goal. If you reach your goal in day one, say you get lucky, all J's stars aligned, all right, and
That's a lot of stars. So
you reach your 1% on your $1 million account on the first day trading, and they say you have to wait another 29, 30 days,
you're
depending.
gonna trade.
You think that you're not going to trade that
Oh,
account?
you're
You
gonna
think that
trade.
your greed isn't going to kick in and you're not going to be like, let me just take one more trade. Let me
Yeah.
just see.
What's?
And then you lose
Imagine
your 1%.
2%.
And now
Imagine
what?
2%, Chris.
What?
What's better than 1, 2?
3, 4.
And then
But
now
that's
you're negative
now you're
5%.
-5%. And you're like, shit, I should
Oh
have
my
stopped.
God.
Should have, could have, would
Your
have. And that
timing there
happens a
was
lot.
crazy. Good job,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, should have, could have, would have is something that a lot of people play out in their head, and I don't want to say that everybody does this, but it's a common thing that happens because it's the possibilities, and honestly, it's what they sell you on. The prop firms are selling you on the possibilities of all this
Or
capital.
endless.
They're not dumb. They know what they're doing. Are they helpful and are they useful to people who know
Yeah.
what they're doing? Oh, absolutely. Do I use them? Of course. I'm not calling them a scam or anything like that. But do they market it a certain way? Of course they do. Of course.
Business, Chris.
Just like casinos do and the lottery does. Like everybody's hoping to
Here, take
have
some free play. You won't lose
yeah,
anything.
exactly. Yeah, get the free retry. Let's say it
Yeah.
benefits them. So just be mindful of that. There's a certain mental game that's played here, and that's why we kind of wanted to kind of wrap this up into like mental health week or day that happened this week. And we're actually pretty big in TTF about mindset. Like knowing having a good mindset. We have a whole room for it. We will do a podcast. We'll bring on,
As well.
yeah, we'll bring
Be
on
having
our
a
people.
mindset podcast soon.
We do have a mindset. We'll bring on our people who run that room, who are really good at working with people who are struggling with their mindsets. And I just didn't want it to go unacknowledged, because I do think that in other communities that I've been in, and in general, I mean, people talk about having a good mindset. They talk about like, oh yeah, you need to be, mindset needs to be strong or whatever, but they don't really people don't ever want to talk about it sometimes, or they don't really like get into the nitty gritty of
Yeah,
it.
just
And I
just
think it's
just think
important.
positive thoughts. Be like, okay,
Yeah, that's all you need to pass
all
your
right.
firm. But yeah, so that's, I mean, we just kind of want to talk about that with you guys. Those are kind of the questions, and I thought it was funny because I just kept seeing that repeat come up. Where they're like, "Yo, he's just so casually
So
talking about
we
losing an
should probably
account."
do a
Like,
little. We should probably do a little quick pod about it.
yeah, and I want you guys
And
to
we're
just
here.
realize we're not that casual. Yeah, and obviously we showed you guys Miss Navy, who does amazing, and Jay and I have a pass. And I think when you hear so many people are like, "Oh, they passed," you think, "Oh, it's so easy for them too." But we've all struggled as well,
Yeah.
in different times, and even like recently. I know like Jay did one last year, I think, when we were recording it, and he was like, "Yeah, this is hard," and I was like, "I'm
I
sorry."
was definitely like I had taken time off because usually I don't really trade the summer times, and I did a lot of extensive back testing, and so like
We
I
were
kind of got
busy.
used to the back testing mindset. So like I had forgotten like what live trading felt like, and seeing all like the fake outs and everything. I'm like this. I was so used
Yeah.
to just like, oh, trade in here, oh, it into here, but now I'm like having a way of like But yeah,
Yeah, it was
it
hard. I know you struggled, like he struggled a little bit. So, like, I mean, we're just honest about it. Like he struggled a little bit with sticking to his plan, where because like he knows
I
technical analysis
well,
and he
yeah.
knows these things. So when he's like, "Well,
I'm
maybe
like,
I'm seeing this
but like I'm
happen," and it's
seeing
like, "Oh,
this, but it's like I never tested for that, you know? So I'm like, oh,
yes, so
I'm seeing this divergence or seeing this support resistance, but it's
yeah,
like it doesn't matter because when I tested it, I never worried about that. I made a plan and I was like, I just made this plan. I never tested it, but like I'm filtering stuff. Do I trust it? So like,
yeah,
yeah, we everybody has those types of problems for sure, but
yeah, yeah.
gotta
Everybody does. I
test.
mean, I've had
You
them
have
too.
to test and
So
you have to
yeah.
validate everything. But
Yeah, for sure. Make
I
sure you're
think
prepared. If you show up prepared for it, you're gonna be okay eventually. Whether it's the first time or the second time, whether you have to do a retry or whatever. If you're following your plan and your rules that you have tested, you're gonna be okay eventually. Like you'll get there. But just don't rush the process. Don't try to jump in just because you're like, oh, I think I've been doing good on demo, just hitting buys and sells randomly. Like you're gonna be disappointed. I promise.
yeah, but
Um, yeah.
that
And if you lose it in your life, don't worry about it.
no.
Remember, you passed it. You can do it again. Don't stress over
We
it.
believe
We believe in you. We do. We do. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode. We just wanted to kind of clarify that, talk to you guys a little bit about it, explain like we're human too. We have the
in you. Yeah.
same mental struggles as you guys. So don't feel singled out or feel like you don't, you're the only one who's struggling. If you are interested in more mindset stuff, you guys can check out the mindset room. It is in the trading floor Discord. Roxy and Ian are fabulous. They are always in there helping
Description
you
down below.
guys. Description is down below, or yeah, it's down below for whoever, even if you're listening on podcast. Our next episode. Can I get a
Big
drum
boy.
roll? Can I get a drum roll? Thank you, Jay. What a drummer! What a natural you are.
I just got that rhythm.
Our next episode, guys, is being released on Monday. For
Yep.
you, it is going to be October 20th.
It will be the 17th.
I lied. I am bad at dates.
You were
It is
bad at
going
dates,
to be
bad at numbers.
October.
That's why I'm here, I
who
guess.
who lets me trade? No, yeah, it's a miracle sometimes. Anyway, October 17th is going to be our podcast where we're going to be releasing and talking to members from the community who participated in strategy wars. So if you guys saw that or know about it, they will be with us, which is super exciting. So we always like having people on with
Season
us.
2 strategy war
And
reveal.
releasing strategy to reveal, which is a fun video that I actually just got to see today. I won't spoil it, but it was really,
It
really
was a hype
cool.
the hype video.
It
Shout
was,
out Jinx and Bear.
yeah, it is fun. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to catch Monday's episode, and we'll see you guys then, I guess. Anything else, Jay?
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.